You good? Let me go. All right. So hello everyone. Sorry for the late delay. Classic ACM intro to tech stuff. We lots of technical difficulties. The wall port wasn't working. My computer stopped working. All right. So now we're ready to get started. Hi, my name is Jacob Ellerbrock, and we are going to be doing Minecraft plugin development. I'm sure the word Minecraft enticed a bunch of y'all, and it could entice me. So yeah, hopefully the stuff we're going to be going with is kind of talking about what is a plugin. And I'm sure last year y'all heard of our Minecraft modding workshop, and I'm going to talk about why I went with plugins and not mods. Plugins is a little bit easier. And then we're going to talk about going through our first project, and then setting up our first plugin, and then some basic stuff about like classic game loops like events and commands, and then some extra stuff afterwards at the end. So first off, just like what is a plugin? So who here, I'm assuming all of y'all like own Minecraft, right? I don't know why you wouldn't be here if you didn't. Okay, who's played on like servers before, like Hypixel, the old Mineplex, stuff like that? So yeah, also, and you can log into those servers with like no mods at all, like just pure what's called vanilla Minecraft without any mods or anything. And the game just like runs perfectly. Things that you wouldn't see in like your normal like survival Minecraft world. These were what's called plugins. They basically take basic functionalities of Minecraft and change them to create a game of some sorts. For example, in Hypixel, when you first spawn in, you like click your compass in your inventory, and it pops up a GUI where you can click stuff. That usually doesn't happen in your survival world, but it does in Hypixel. That's because Hypixel is reading whenever you click your compass to then open that GUI, and then it reads when you click the bed for Bed Wars, and it'll transfer you to the Bed Wars lobby. That is what a plugin does. It's server-side, it's just a Minecraft, and it modifies things on the server. Again, mods will modify both the server and the client. That's why you can launch like modded worlds, like some of the popular mod packs. But they'll modify stuff in your client, so like adding new blocks, adding new functionality. It's mainly new stuff that gets added. Whereas plugins, they change what's already there. Nothing new is added at all. It's purely just what's already in the base game. So again, like Hypixel, Vanilla Plus Experiments, they are meant to be accessible for everybody. You don't need something special. It's all the server provided, and they'll provide what they want. And I was going to draw on here, but I don't really want to. I'm scared to touch everything. So I can get over here. So yeah, so whenever your client sends something to the server, it'll send data, and then right here your plugin sits, and it'll modify things on the server to then send back. Whereas clients or mods will modify stuff here, send to the server, may modify, and then send back. But the difference in the plugins is it'll only happen on the server. So we are going to be writing essentially server code to basically modify stuff on the server. And hopefully, whenever y'all first saw this project, y'all found this Word doc that hopefully got sent out that talked about setting some stuff up. You don't need this, but it'd be very difficult to follow along. So I recommend, hopefully those that have already seen this have set it up, and you'll be able to follow along. But don't worry about it if you don't have it right now. I'll be able to stay later to help you set this up as well. This basically goes over setting up the IDE, which we're using IntelliJ. Y'all luckily got all this stuff for free because y'all are students. I have to pay for it. Basically setting up the project, and then closer down here is where you are setting up a test server. Pretty simple, and I actually have mine right here. So this is their server they'll be running. All right, so moving on, we'll be setting up our first project. So going up and open up IntelliJ. This is the IDE you'll be using, and you should have installed whenever you create a new project. You will get this new project generator right here that's called Minecraft. Can everybody see that just fine? I can't tell. Is it good? Everyone good? Cool. So whenever you first open this up, let's see if I can expand it. There we go. Ugh. All right, so at the very top, we'll be naming our project. I would just say ACM project. The location you wanted to go to, we'll be creating a plugin. So then we were going to go for Paper. Paper is the modern things that plugins use, or sorry, servers use. We'll be using Gradle, don't worry about those. We'll use Java, because who uses Kotlin nowadays? The Minecraft version we'll be using is 1.21.11, and then just the name of the project, and then the main class that it will automatically fill out for you. And then lower down here, if you want to go into monetization, you can set your name. I like to do me.myname, and then leave the rest of the stuff blank. And then also the Java version we use is 21, because whatever Mojang says, 1.21.11 uses Java 11. And then once you do that, we hit create, and should create a new project for us. I'll move this over here. we go. Move you back over here. All right. So whenever we first create a project, we'll be given this basic function right here. This is essentially our main class. Whenever you do Java programming, you usually start with your main class. This is where we first start, the onEnable and onDisable. Obviously, pretty self-explanatory. OnEnable is stuff that runs whenever your plugin enables. And for example, we'll just write out some basic stuff. System.out.println, remember this from Java 1. We'll just say hello Minecraft world. And then here in the shutdown logit, we will say goodbye Minecraft world, just to see if our plugin actually will load the stuff. So now, whenever we want to transfer our project and actually run it in a testing environment, this fancy thing called Gradle that we mentioned earlier, this essentially will build our project for us. So on the right side, it should have opened this Gradle tab. If not, you can click it right here. You want to come here to tasks, and then build, and then you'll want to run and build right here. If you don't see this pane right now, this Gradle is probably importing on your project. You just need to wait a little bit, and then the window will pop up. And you will see down here that your project will begin building, and once it says build successful, that means we're good to go. So now back in your project window, that's not the project window. If you go down to your project, build, and then I think it's generated, or is it library? It's libraries. So under build libs, this is where your plugin is generated, and you will want to move that to your plugin server. So whenever you list all your directories, plugins is going to be one of the folders that's created, and you basically want to move your plugin there. Since I am being a complicated person using a command line, I'm going to be transferring this, but you can just use your basic file explorers to transfer the plugin created in libs to the plugins folder. I'm going to do this real quick. All right, so now it's inside our plugins folder, and we are good to start the server. So now, as we start the server, we should see our logging line will appear in the server console, and we can see right here out hello Minecraft world. And if we stop the server, it should say up here goodbye Minecraft world. This is the contents we added to the onEnable and onDisable. So now, obviously, that's not that interesting. You're not really modifying stuff in Minecraft. So let's go ahead and start changing some stuff within the world itself. So for a first example, I was thinking just placing a block in the world would be pretty self-explanatory. So to place a block in the world, we are going to need to find somewhere a block to modify. And to find that, we will need to first get the world. So to do that, we will need to get the world. We'll say world equals. And then to get the world, we got to do, I believe, bucket.getWorld. So this bucket.getWorld command will essentially get the world that we're looking for, and usually the world name is world. So now in our world variable, this is going to be the world that our Minecraft is loading. So now inside the world, we can do a whole bunch of stuff. As you can see here, create explosions are at the top for some reason. Drop items, we can get biomes, a whole bunch of stuff. So first, let's go and get the block we want to modify. So let's say the block to modify. We've got to import the block class, if it'll let me. There we go. Block to modify. And then we want to get from the world, get the block at some location. So we can use this basically get an x, y, and z coordinates. So for simplicity's sake, we'll say 0, 100, 0. So now this is going to hold the block that is at 0, 100, 0. So now we can say block to modify. We can now set the type, or type is going to be basically what the block is made out of. And you'll see here material. Materials are essentially just all the types of blocks that there are in Minecraft. And this is enum, so we can do material dot. And then there's a whole list of materials that we can use. And we'll just say, we'll do bedrock. So now to reiterate, here's what it's doing. So we're going to get the world that the Minecraft server is loading. we are going to get the block at these coordinates, 0, 100, 0, and we're going to set that block to bedrock. And this should happen on enable when the plugin starts up. So we will build it. Once it's built, we will copy over the plugin, and then we will run the server. And once it's done, it'll say done, hopefully. There we go. And now we come over to Minecraft. Now the server's up. And we should see a block at 0, 100, 0. So TP, let's say 0, 20, 0. I'm too high up. And here's our block bedrock at 0, 100, 0. So once the plugin is created, so once the plugin starts, it basically does not see it here. It'll get this block and then change it to bedrock. So pretty exciting stuff that once you load the world, you can actually do stuff within the world. All right, so now let's stop the server. All right, so now let's do something that's a little more interactive. We already did that. Let's look at events. So I mentioned before with the Hypixel example where when you click your compass, it opens up that GUI. And that essentially, that's what an event is called. An event is when something basically happens on the server. Minecraft is listening for something to happen. So whenever something happens, you will run this piece of code. For example, when a player joins, maybe you want to run something. Something classic that happens when a player joins is it says that player joined the game. Or in custom servers, it usually says, welcome to the server, this player, or load your inventory with this stuff whenever you join the game, or some of those plugins that go, you have a mailbox, they'll display your mailbox whenever you join the server, stuff like that. Or when a player dies, usually in Hypixel you don't get your death screen, it just handles it off for you, where it teleports you to the surface, says you died in big red text, stuff like that. So the server Hypixel is listening for whenever you die as a player, it'll then basically run a bunch of stuff instead of just running the basic you died screen. There's a whole bunch of events, player joins, player dies, items drop, blocks get broken. Essentially, whenever something happens, you want your code to run something different. So for today's example, we will, for now, let's say we'll edit the join message. So let's go back to IntelliJ. So we need to create an event. We need to make the server listen for whenever we join. So to do that, we are going to follow basic coding practices, and inside our folder right here, we are going to create a new folder, and we will call it events. Events. And inside this folder, we will put all our events. You don't have to do this. I just like doing this to keep something organized, because in big stuff, there's a lot of files. And we'll say player join event. So the first thing we want to do for this is we need to implement the listener interface. This listener from Bucket. Make sure you select the org.bucket.event one, not the WebSocket one. So now this class essentially is a listener. And now we get to create our function or the method that listens to the player. So let's say public void on player join. And now we got to pass in what the parameter that listens for the player join. And to do that, it's simply just knowing what these are. You will essentially, over time, learn like some of the more common ones. So this one is player join events right here. And since I named the function, I'm actually going to rename this. This is a bad example. On player join event. So it's not the same name as the parameter we're trying to make. There we go. Player join event right here. And we'll name it E. And don't forget, when on any events, you will have to do event handler. You have to put this decorator here. So now we have essentially set up this code to whenever a player joins the server, it'll trigger this event and basically anything that runs in this code. So now let's change the join message. So we can look inside our event. Let's see what's in here. So we got the join message. We have the get join message, and then get the player that joins, get if they're asynchronous or not, or that the function is synchronous. And that's really it. So to set the join message, we will just do this function right here, join message, and then we will just say, welcome to the server. And it's not liking that. I guess it needs a component. OK, so in modern paper, there are components. To basically do a component, you just do component.text. And this is just fancy text. And then we'll say, welcome to the server. And we'll even make it say the player name as well. So we'll get our player. So we'll save our player as player equals e.getPlayer. So this is essentially just getting the player and then saving it in the player variable. And then we'll use basic Java concatenation, welcome to the server, and then player dot, when we'll get their name. There we go. So whenever the player joins, we'll get the player that actually joined, and then set their join message to welcome to the server, and then the player's name. And we will try running that. All right, so as build successful, we will copy the folder, copy it over, and then run the server. So I'm not used to talking this much. Ugh. All right. Now we go back to Minecraft. And it didn't say our new message name. So it looks like we missed something. So what we missed was actually the server did not actually recognize this event. Whenever we load things into the server, essentially you got to specify like what needs to be changed. So for this current example, we need to say that we want this event to happen. We want you to listen to this join event instead of the normal one. So to do that, we actually have to what's called registering our event to the server. And to do that, we have to go back to our onEnable. We'll say get server, get the plugin manager, and then register events. And then we will create a new instance of the class that we just created. So new player join event. And then after that, we just pass in the current instance of the current class. Say this. This, you don't really need to know how it works. It's just something you add every time you got to get an event. I barely know how it works. But it's just something you got to do every time you add an event. It's stuff like this that like once you start coding a bunch of plugins, it just becomes second nature. So now this registers our event to the server, and now every time that this event's going to be checked along with all the other Minecraft events. So now we're going to rebuild this, copy it over, and then run the server. Just a heads up, you have to stop and restart your server every time you update your plugin. In older paper versions, you used to be able to just reload it, but now things kind of break whenever you try and reload it, so you might as well just restart the entire server. All right, so now let's try loading again. And there we go. Now it says welcome to the server, our name, and I did not put a space in between. There we go. So now maybe add a little more stuff to it. We can change the color. By at the end of the component.text, we can say, I think it's named text color, and then specify color. Let's do it aqua. There we go. Build, and I did not copy it. Copy and then run. There we go. And now it should display that message in aqua. And we can change the color of the text. Cool. So now, now we edited the join message. Let's try and do something a little more fancy. Make a teleport bow that teleports the player to the arrow. So an arrow is another type of event. So maybe when a arrow hits the ground, you want to teleport the player to the event. Or when a projectile, specifically a projectile, hits a block, then run something, teleport the player to the event. So it's kind of thinking of like what do you want to trigger some code to happen? Whenever an arrow hits something, teleport the player to the arrow. And let's do that. So first we'll make a new class to store our event. We'll say on arrow hit. Implement the class the listener. And then we'll get our function with the event handler decorator. On arrow hit. And the event we'll be looking for, let's say like projectile maybe, projectile hit event. So let's try this. So whenever a projectile hits something, we will be able to get the projectile entity. We will be able to get the block it hit. We will get the block face that it hits, or if it hits an entity. And then it's canceled, we don't need to worry about that. That's what it looks like. Okay. So first we need to essentially get the location at where the arrow hits. So first we will try and, we got to get the arrow first. So since it looked for a projectile, we will say projectile, we'll say arrow equals, and we'll get the projectile to get into here. So now we have the arrow stored, and we need to get the location where that arrow is. So we'll get restore location equals arrow dot get the arrow's location. So we're going to get the arrow and then get its location and save it here. And now we want to teleport the player to this location. How do we get the player? So maybe arrow has something. Arrow has get shooter, so whoever shot the arrow. So maybe we can use this. I forgot what it returned. I think it was projectile source. We'll say source equals get shooter. What does source have? Nothing valuable. So maybe we can hope that the projectiles, or we're going to test, is this source like an actual player. And to do that, we can go if source is instance of player, say p. And we got to import this. All right. So now we're just going, is this is the shooter a player? So we show the source here, and if the player is actually a player, then let's do something with the player. And we will say p, we can actually teleport to a location and get this location right here. And then also once we get the location, we want to get rid of the arrow because we don't want it to stay there because we don't want to pick it back up. All right. So again, overview of this. So we're going to get the arrow that got shot. We're going to get its location so we can store it to teleport to. And then we're going to remove the arrow to just make sure nothing bugs out. And then we're going to get the shooter, that person that shot the arrow. And then if they are a player, then it will teleport them because other things to shoot arrows, like skeletons, we don't want them teleporting to their arrows. We just want players to. So let's try this. Let's copy that over and then run it. All right. All right. So let's give myself a bow. Give myself arrows. All right. Let's see if this works. And it did not, because we did not register our event. We forgot to register that. And this is me live coding this, so I'm always going to forget it. So make sure we go back to our main thing, our main method. Get server, get plugin manager, register events, and then new on arrow hits. And then we pass in our current one, this. And if you don't understand like what I'm writing, don't worry. I didn't understand it whenever I was first writing either. It's just kind of using building blocks. Specifically, the class application programming will actually help you understand a lot of this stuff. This is what modern programming is you aren't coding this stuff from scratch. I don't think any of y'all would want to have to code pure Minecraft events from scratch, and it's just using building blocks of what they've already written. So again, just for now, just copy and paste it, and it'll make sense later as you use it. That's at least what I did. All right. Let's try this again, now that our event is registered. Okay. Oh, and we teleported. We teleported to our arrow. Oh, I almost flying. So yeah, so it's listening for whenever the arrow hits a block, it'll grab the location and then teleport us to it. And we can see our camera kind of shoots upwards. Don't know if I really want that. We can actually improve this a little bit by, well, say we want to keep our current head rotation. And if y'all didn't know, the rotation is within pitch and yaw. Essentially, the pitch is like how like up and down you're looking, and then yaw is left and right. It looks like the location stored was the arrow's location, so whichever way the arrow was technically looking, which I guess is straight up, where we want to keep our player's location, or which way our player is looking. So we can modify the location by saying, we'll say set pitch, and we will actually need the player, so I'll have to do it down here. So modify the location, we'll say set the pitch location to our player, we'll get their pitch, and then same with yaw. We'll set the location yaw to the player's yaw. We'll try this. Let's try it. So now I'm looking down, and we stay looking down when we teleport. If let's see how I can do this. If I shoot and look up, it also makes me look up. Cool, and so that's basically creating a teleportation bow. And then just one more thing to add. Let's say we want to add like a sound to it. I know a lot of modern plugins have sounds to basically amplify the user experience. So let's try adding a sound. So to create a sound, in modern day, it's a little more complicated. We'll have to use this new adventure kind of sound stuff. So make sure you import this sound, not the bucket one. Sound equals, I think I do sound, sound here. Again, it's kind of complicated. I just got to follow along. And then we have to key. And then non-static cannot main method. Can I import the right key? All right, here we go. So a key is essentially just what sound is going to be referring to. If we go back to stop the server. If we go back into Minecraft, and if you ever run the play sound command, you will remember like having those long strings as sounds. Let me show you, and let me unmute. Sorry, Miguel, I know you said you I wasn't going to do sound, but I just, last minute. All right, so yeah, so if you go to play sound, you can see all these kind of sounds. This is going to be the key. So we'll look for, and we'll do like the classic, and where's Enderman? Enderman.teleport. And I don't know if you can hear that. Spike up my volume. I don't know if you can hear it, but yeah, that sound. Oh, cool. So they could hear it too. They could hear it, but y'all couldn't. That's the backwards. All right. So the key was, I already forgot, was it entity.enderman.teleport. All right. What was next? And then we need a source, a volume, and a pitch. So a source is essentially what is it going to play? What it's going to play from? Go to your option music sounds right here. Essentially, it's just one of these. Usually teleports on a hostile mob, so if you would move this around, it'll change the sound. Whereas if you go master, it'll only like modify the master. So that's just one you can play from. This doesn't really matter much, so I think it's source. Yeah, source dot do hostile. And then it was a volume and a pitch, which you can do just one each. There we go. And then we say get our player, and I think there's a sound. Yeah, play sound, and then play that sound we just created. Build it, and then remember to stop the server. You gotta restart it. And I just have to turn my sound back on. All right. And just to make sure that y'all can hear, I will turn on closed captions. All right, so now whenever we shoot the arrow and the arrow hits the bow, no one likes the music. We should now hear the sound. You see, I don't know if you saw it or heard it from my good laptop, but the Enderman teleports. It played the sound. Awesome. Cool. So now, so that is essentially events. Whenever you're going to tell Minecraft to listen for something to happen and then run the code based on what happens. All right, so now we'll get even more complicated. Add commands. So everybody, when you first hear plugins, you think, oh, custom commands. I'm sure y'all looked up this video. It was like, how do I add a custom command, or how do I add like the /home command to my vanilla Minecraft? Because all the popular YouTubers are using it, stuff like that. Yeah, you can make custom commands. Slash whatever you want will run whatever you want in the code. This is kind of tricky because a lot of things can run commands. You can run them in your Minecraft. You can run them in the console, actually. Like I type stop. That's technically a command. You can anything can run commands. If y'all ever done actual Minecraft commands, the execute command is a scary tool. You can essentially have any entity run a command for you. It's weird. But yeah, that is essentially, we're going to add a command to essentially give us a special TP bow. Let's try that. So now to do more organization, we will add another folder. And we'll call it commands. Then in here, let's say give TP bow command. And to start with this, we got to implement the basic command interface. Basic command right here. And this one really wants an execute function. So if you are unfamiliar, interfaces, they require certain methods. So we'll give this execute, or you can just copy this if you are didn't prompt it. Yeah, you will need an execute function inside any basic command. So essentially, whenever you run the command, it will run this execute thing. And let's look at some of the stuff that it passes in. Command source stack and strings. I like to remain this just source, and then these are your arguments. So whenever you type a command, you'll say like slash say, and then you'll type a message, right? So the say will be in the source, and then anything after it, so your message will be in args. For now, we won't worry about our arguments. We'll just be using, we'll just try and do /TP bow. But first, before we do that, let's register our command, because it's just like events, you have to register your commands as well. And honestly, I can't remember how to do that, so I have to look at my other notes. So here we go, register command right here. So the register command function, and then the label, so we'll say give TP bow, or no slash. So this is essentially the command that we want to type in whenever we run the command. And then what we want to run, we pass it the new instance of our give TP bow command, just like that. Ooh. So now, essentially, the plugin will recognize that give TP bow exists. And just to test it, we will say, let's send a message to the player instead of actually giving them TP bow. So when you get the player, or that thing that actually sent it, so I think it's command sender. We'll say sender equals, bless you, the source, and then we'll get whoever sent the command. So again, the source.getSender, essentially who sent the command, and we'll save it here. And then we'll send them a message. Sender dot, I think send message right here. And then this one takes in a string message. Let's say gave you a TP bow, smile. Cool. Now we'll build it, copy it in, and then run it. All right, now let's go back to Minecraft. Clear my bow, and then let's type give TP bow. It even auto-suggested it for us. It's right here, and it recognizes it. And when we run it, gave you a TP bow, it ran the command, it sent us a message, and we should, in theory, get a TP bow once we're done. Cool, that works. All right, so now we have to send the TP bow. This is kind of the tricky part. So first, we'll work on actually declaring what is going to be sent. So let's build the TP bow item. So to create an item, we have to use what's called an item stack. This is essentially just an item. I don't know why they refer to it as an item stack. That's a lie I kind of do, but yeah, whatever. This is what we'll use to create an item. And to do this, we need a new item stack right here. And they require a material. Remember, material is like any type, anything item in Minecraft. And we're going to do material.bow. There we go. So now our item is a bow. But let's add like some special modifiers to this bow, right? Maybe give it a name. So if y'all have ever worked with commands and stuff, y'all know that whenever y'all have to add custom data to an item, you have to do those like curly brackets and then all the stuff inside the curly brackets that's confusing. This is what's called item data or item meta. So meta essentially defines what details about the item. And here, better when I show you. So item meta, we'll say meta, and then we were going to get the item's current meta, like this. So now with the item meta, we can set a whole bunch of stuff. Say if it's unbreakable, let's actually do that. So we'll say the item is unbreakable. Well, we can add attribute modifiers, enchants, change the custom name. We can get more about the enchant level, get if it's food or not, get the rarity, get the tool, a whole bunch of stuff. But this is what item meta is. And so let's set the custom name. And let's build a component. So remember, components are essentially just special complicated text. To do that, we do component.text. And we will say TP bow. And we'll make it named text color. And let's make it light purple. There we go. It's getting mad at me. Import the class. Cool. So now we need to actually set all the item meta back to the item. To do that, we do we'll do item.set item meta. That's the new meta that we just created. And now we have our special item set. Let's do one more thing. Let's actually give it infinite arrows. So the infinity enchantment. So item, we'll do add enchant. Add enchants. And we'll say infinity. And then level 1. So now we've created the bow, material bow, and we're going to change this meta to make it unbreakable, and call it the TP bow. That's the light purple color, and then give it the infinity enchantment. So now we just got to give the player it. So I'm going to abstract something real quick. So we got to get our player. We'll save him here as player, and let's just assume for now that the sender is a player. Obviously, we can see why this is bad now when I said assume, right? But for now, we'll just assume that the player, the sender is a player. So we'll get this player. We will get their inventory, and we will, I think it's add item, and we will add the item that we created. So we'll assume the sender is a player, and then get their inventory and add the TP bow to their inventory. Let's see if this works. Let's build it, copy, and then run. Right. So now if we try give TP bow, now we got our TP bow that has infinity on it and is purple. Cool. So now, to break what I just said, let's imagine we're in our console. Remember how I said that a lot of things can run commands. Console is one of them. Let's try running give TP bow, because it obviously recognizes that a command. It breaks. Your terminal console command sender cannot be cast to player. So whenever you are coding your plugins, you need to handle these edge cases. What if the console sends a command? What if you make a zombie send a command? Stuff like that. So I'll stop the server for now. So instead of doing this, we have to instead, again, how we did before, see if the sender is a player. So we will do if sender is instance of player. then we will run the stuff. Or better yet, we will negate it. If it's not a player, we will say send the sender a message. Send message, only players can run this command. And now, with that out of the way, we can assume that the player is now a player, or the sender is now a player, sorry. I don't believe you. All right. I didn't copy it over. Cool. And now if we actually try and run to give Tbow in the console, it still freaked out. Still cannot cast as a player at line 32. I just didn't do it right. If sender is not instead of players, oh yeah, I need to actually return it because those statements still go. So again, like return will just end your function early. Yeah, now it's no longer freaking out anymore. Where's pattern variable? Nah, that's too complicated. All right. Stop. Copy. Run. And actually, we're doing pretty good on time. This is the last thing I had. All right. Now we try to run give Tbow. Now it yells only players run this command. And I actually should have put this line above this because now it runs this. Then it tries to build the item and then send it, but it actually can't. Should probably have this up here. Oh, not there. Okay, that. There we go. So now just trust me, it works. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just going to go back to Minecraft and propose another issue that we have. So obviously we have our Tbow that works perfectly fine, and we love it. But also, if we give ourselves a normal bow, this also will teleport us. So I encourage you to try and figure out how to possibly differentiate these two. What I recommend is you see what bow they're holding whenever the event fires, and which one, if it's actually the Tbow, then teleport them. But if it's a normal bow or anything else, then don't. Try and see if you can figure out how to determine which one. Some extra documentation stuff I have is these docs right here. Actually, here, I'll go here. So in this Word document at the very top, I have these documentations right here, the paper docs and then the Java docs. So the documentation, the paper docs right here, essentially can glorified of what I just went over, how to add plugins to your thing. Down here, development project setup, how to create the project, how they work, and then more stuff. And then here's more stuff that we went over, like commands, like what is a command, event API, the listeners, more stuff. Just if you want to read up back on what we talked about. And then the Java docs, this is how I recommend figuring out stuff. Remember how I said that how could we differentiate what item we have? We could search in the Java docs. Maybe let's look at our player class. So now we can see our bucket. Let's say the player right here. What's some stuff that they have? Maybe holding, event holder. Maybe not presented data holder. Maybe main hand. There we go. Or maybe not that. Main hand. Let's keep looking. Show a decent title. Maybe it's in their inventory. Anyway, stuff like this. Yeah, you can search. Yeah, like here's an update inventory function. This is what I recommend to look for. This is what I use to look for events. For example, whenever your player dies, let's say just search death. Here we go. The event, org bucket events, and when an entity dies. When a player dies, let's look at this. Here's some methods that they have. The death message that you can get the entity, get if they're going to keep their, or set if they're going to keep their inventory on death, stuff like this. So I recommend searching through here whenever you're looking for issues, and also ChatGPT is actually pretty good at helping you with plugins. I use it a lot. I use Copilot a lot, and yeah. So back to our main and finishing slide. So examples again like Hypixel. It's literally just all plugins. Like technically, you could code Hypixel now. Essentially, just only using commands and events. When your bed gets broken, your Hypixel is checking, did you break something? Did you break a bed? Was it an enemy bed? If it was, then tell you that then the enemy cannot respond anymore. That's just an if check that's saved in the game. So yeah, it's literally just all we just did. So every server is like this too. But as you can see, things get complicated very fast as well. So again, classes like application programming can help teach you like principles and stuff, help you keep organized. Using other methods that you didn't write, it will help you a lot. That's really whenever I understood how to code Minecraft plugins was after applications programming. And essentially, you're doing game dev with maybe some extra steps here, but losing some steps there. Minecraft, you can turn Minecraft into a game engine, and now you're writing code. You're making your own game, essentially, using the Minecraft stuff. So another example, try and think of a game and go one step at a time. For example, y'all know the classic game UHC, where it's essentially survival, but you don't regenerate. Maybe look for an event whenever your player regenerates. Don't do it. Cancel the event. And now you essentially just have UHC. Maybe make a start command. Whenever you type /start, it teleports all the players around in like a sphere or a circle, so they can all get spread out from each other. Stuff like that. Like go one step at a time and make a game. And yeah, that's really it. Happy developing. And if you like this, if you enjoy plugin developing, then try modding. It's literally just what we did, but just more steps. But these basic steps still apply. So yeah, that's really all I have. Thank you all for coming out. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Let me know. I am in the Discord still, I think. Jacob Ellerbrock. And yeah, thank you so much for coming.